When you put yourself first, when you love yourself first, you're not taking love away from anyone else. You're giving yourself permission to give so much love to yourself that the people around you will also benefit from it as a byproduct. You can be a better person in this equation, and you can show up for other people in such a better way.
Welcome to the VetRise podcast. I'm your host, Juan Perez. My goal is to make success after service accessible to every veteran in society. I believe in the power of leveraging your service, not as a label that defines you, but as a launching pad for your next chapter. What we have been doing has not been working, and it's on us to start changing the culture. Enjoy the episode, and thank you for your time.
Love yourself first. Why it's selfish to put others before you. Yeah, I said it. And a lot of you are going to come into today thinking, well, what am I going to take away from this? I've heard this before and it hits home for me and I understand it. But the thing is, if you keep hearing the same message over and over again, maybe you just need to hear it differently. And I feel like that's what I'm going to offer you guys today. So if you've ever struggled with putting yourself first, if you always say yes to everyone else, even at the cost of your own well-being, if you feel guilty the moment that you think about doing something for yourself, then I want you guys to listen up and take notes, because this might be the most important thing that you hear today. Here is the truth. It is actually selfish to put others before yourself. Now, it sounds backwards, doesn't it? Society tells us that being selfless is noble, that sacrificing for others is the right thing to do, that the more you give, the better off of a person you are, that being needed means you are worthy. But let's be real. What happens when you give and give until there is nothing left and you are empty? You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot lead, support, or show up for others if you are running on fumes. You have to learn. You have to learn that to love yourself first is not a selfish thing to do. In fact, it's necessary. So let me tell you guys the story of Anthony. Anthony is the man who gave and gave until there was nothing left. Take Anthony, for example. He's the guy that everyone called when they needed help. If you need a ride to the airport at 5 a.m., guess what? You're calling Anthony. If you need someone to cover a shift at work, even though it's his only day off, guess what? He will rearrange his entire life for you, all of his needs for you, and he will cover that shift for you. Family needs, money needs, Anthony will be there for you. He will drain his savings without hesitation. At first, Anthony feels good about it. He tells himself that he's doing the right thing, that he is dependable, that he is needed. That must mean he's a good person, right? But over time, something changes. Anthony becomes exhausted, but he keeps pushing. Anthony becomes overwhelmed, but he keeps saying yes. His finances are freaking drained, but he keeps giving. Anthony keeps telling himself that one day, someone will return the favor. That someone needs to be him. And that one day, he'll have time for himself. That one day, all the sacrifices he's making will pay off. But you see, that day never comes. And instead, Anthony builds resentment. Frustration starts to creep in. He feels unappreciated. He feels used. And when he finally has nothing left to give, when he's completely burned out, who's there for him? No one. No one. Because here is the hard truth. People will take and take as much as you allow them to. Not because they're bad people, but because you never set the boundary. You never said, this is my limit. You never prioritized yourself. And now when you desperately need rest, when you need someone to show up for you, when you need a break, there's nothing left because you never set the boundary. This is why it's actually selfish to put others before yourself, because it feels good for the moment. You get something out of it. You get to ignore all of your problems. Because when you sacrifice your own needs for everyone else's, you end up resenting them for taking what you freely gave. There's a reason why the oxygen mask rule exists. You must take care of yourself first. You've heard it before. Every time you get on a plane, they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first before helping anyone else. Why? Because if you pass out, you are useless. You cannot help anyone. It's the same thing in life. If you guys keep giving to others at your own expense, you will burn out. And if you keep sacrificing your well-being for everyone else, you will end up losing yourself. If you keep putting yourself last because you think that you are doing God's work, you think that you are there for everybody, you will have nothing left to give. And then here is what happens next. You snap. Maybe you lash out at your spouse for not appreciating you. Maybe you explode on your kids because you've been running on fumes. Maybe you get fired at work because you have an anger episode. You feel unappreciated, unseen, and empty, all because you refuse to take care of yourself first. This is why self-care is not selfish. It is the way that you thrive in this world. Every time that you say yes to others, you have to ask yourself, are you saying no to yourself? Now, let's meet Mike. Mike is a dad. Mike is a husband. Mike is a business owner. He wants to be a great provider, a great leader, and a great friend. So he says yes to everything. Can you take on another project? Yes. Can you help me move this weekend? Yes. Can you take care of this right now? Yes. Mike will always put you before him. But here's what Mike's life actually looks like. He works long hours, so he's skipping the gym and eating like crap. He doesn't sleep well because his mind is constantly racing. He never has time for himself because he's constantly putting out fires for other people. And deep down, he's pissed off. Not at his family, not at his clients, at himself. Because he knows that he's neglecting himself. And every time he says yes to someone else's needs, he's saying no to his own. How many of you are doing the same thing without even realizing it? How many of you are doing the same thing without even knowing that this is something that you have trouble with? Self-love is not optional. It is mandatory. You think that you're being selfless by putting others first. But what if I told you that the most selfless thing you can do is take care of yourself first? Because when you love yourself first, you have more energy to show up for others. You set strong boundaries that actually protect your peace. You give from abundance instead of depletion. You stop resenting the people you love because you no longer feel like you're giving more than you have to give. You become the very best goddamn version of yourself. And who wouldn't want that? And that version of you, the best version of yourself, that is the version your family, your friends, and your community actually needs, that you need. You have to stop waiting for permission to put yourself first. Nobody's going to give you that permission to put yourself first. Nobody's going to say, hey, Adam, I think you should take a break. Hey, Chelsea, I think you should go home when you're supposed to go home instead of staying late. Nobody's going to respect your boundaries until you respect them first. So start today, start now, start loving yourself first. I want you to ask yourself, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, where am I saying yes when I should be saying no? Where am I sacrificing myself out of obligation rather than love? Where am I waiting for someone else to give me permission to prioritize me? Loving yourself first isn't selfish. It is necessary. It is a thing that you have to do to make sure that you can make it to where you want to make it in life. It's a thing that you have to do to make sure that you can show up for everyone else in your life. Because when you take care of yourself first, you don't just give. You give fully. You give without resentment. You give without exhaustion. And that's what people in your life actually need. You have to put yourself first. It is time. I want to remind you guys, when we talk about loving yourself first, no one is being sacrificed. I promise you. Because when you love yourself first, when you put yourself first and you actually take care of yourself and you do the things that fill you up and you get to the gym and you eat your meals and you get to bed on time, you are operating like a freaking fighter jet. You can show up for everyone else in your life. No one will be hurt by it. You will set boundaries with the people that unknowing to them haven't been respecting those boundaries because you never set them. And a lot of times when we look back into our past, we realize that we always gave and gave and gave, whether it was to our children, to our spouses, to our job, to our friends, because it made us feel good. We thought it was our responsibility. The responsibility you have is to be the very best freaking version of yourself, because I promise you, that is the best way to parent. That is the best way to lead. That is the best way to mentor. That is the best way to inspire. That is the best way to inspire. It is not by being this depleted, sacrificed, beat down version of yourself. I don't care what the history books tell us. Times need to change because obviously it's not working. There is so much resentment that comes into play when you start operating from a place of giving and giving and giving because you feel like you have to. And before you know it, you are on the back burner and you have to pay attention to the fact that it's your fault that you're there. The solution to all of this is to start loving yourself first. Start prioritizing what needs to get done. Start making sure that your boundaries are respected, primarily by you. Because the outcome of all of this will be that you can still show up for people in different ways. You can still inspire people in ways that you have no idea that you can do. The way that our parents raised us, the way that society has taught us for the longest is that we have to give and give and give to be good people. But imagine how much better of a person you would be if you were operating from a place of abundance. If you didn't have that migraine because you kept ignoring yourself. If you weren't short-fused and you would get angry at work because you keep neglecting to bring your food with you because you don't make time for yourself. If you were to make sure that when you're showing up at work and you're expected to perform because maybe you have to talk in front of a judge or you have to talk to a nurse or you have to make sure that something goes out right, you are in the clearest mind state because you have continuously done the work for yourself first. That's the beauty of all of this, guys. When you put yourself first, when you love yourself first, you're not taking love away from anyone else. You're giving yourself permission to give so much love to yourself that the people around you will also benefit from it as a byproduct. No one gets hurt in this equation. In fact, you can be a better person in this equation, and you can show up for other people in such a better way than if you always feel like you sacrificing and being the one that's willing and being the one that gives and being the one that does when no one else will. That way will just leave you angry, full of resentment, and on the back burner permanently. So I want you guys to think about where in your life are you not operating from a place of loving yourself first? Is it always answering those phone calls for that one friend that has that same problem that they've had for the past 5 years that they don't do anything about? Is it the fact that you enable your children to continuously do the same thing over and over again instead of you teaching them how to be able to do something for themselves because you know that they can and you want to teach them how? Is it the fact that you end up staying up late when you know that you want to make it to the gym tomorrow morning, but now, because you said yes to going out with your friends, even though nothing positive will come from it, you know you're going to miss the gym in the morning? Is it the fact that you don't tell your loved ones, hey, I need to prep for tomorrow morning, so I'm going to get my gym bag ready and make sure that I'm all set to go tonight, and I'm going to go to bed on time because it's uncomfortable to do? This doesn't have to be an extreme scenario. This could be simply the fact that you continue to neglect that 20-minute daily walk because you don't want to leave someone at home alone instead of inviting them out to go on that walk with you. It could be the fact that you're still smoking cigarettes because your best friend still smokes cigarettes and you guys go out for a smoke break together, even though it's not something that you want to do anymore. You have to hold yourself to the higher standard. You have to love yourself first. You have to make sure that you operate from a place of abundance, not depletion. This was me for the longest, guys, always, because I didn't have any friends in high school. I wasn't in any clubs. I got expelled from high school. I got suspended from 2 others. I almost ended up not even being able to graduate, but I did. But I didn't have any friends. So the moment that the Marine Corps gave me a little bit of acceptance, I dove into it. And I always volunteered for everything. And it served me well then. But the problem is that you cannot continue to translate all of the skills from the military or wherever you were at into this real world that we're in. That person that goes into the office first and leaves last may be the hardest worker in the room. But that person might not be the person that gets promoted because you have to learn to fill yourself up. You have to learn to think strategically. You have to learn to operate from a place of abundance, not scarcity, not depletion. So just ask yourself, where in your day-to-day are you putting others before you? Where? And then let's do something about it. Let's change it. Let's have that hard conversation. Let's propose a change in schedule. Let's say, hey, let's go for a daily walk every day after dinner. Or, hey, let's wake up together and go to the gym. Or, hey, I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow morning. Do you mind taking care of the kids? And then you can go in the afternoon. Communicate. Loving yourself first doesn't mean putting up walls and pushing people away. It means being willing to be a little uncomfortable and having those conversations and setting boundaries. Because I promise you, when you do that, you will also allow the people around you to start loving themselves first as well.
And that brings us to the end of another episode of the VetRise podcast. If today's episode inspired you, made you think, or simply gave you hope, I have a small favor to ask. Share it with just one veteran or someone you think could benefit from my message. Your share could light a spark for them. You don't know who you might save. For more insights and to join our mission, follow my socials at JP the Veteran Coach and explore how we can rise together. Thank you for joining us, for being part of this journey, and for believing in the power of rising together. Until next time, keep pushing forward, keep rising, and never forget that we are stronger together. My name is Juan Perez, and thank you for your time.